Yes.
Yeah. So we are doing Pramana Vichar, where we have done following topics till now. First of all, what is the purpose of knowledge? Sa vidya ya vimuktaya. So we can by heart these sutras. Sa vidya ya vimuktaya means knowledge, real knowledge is that which liberates. All other knowledge, what we gather, is basically used, or the purpose is to be comfortable, to have security, to have power, fame, travel, leisure, etc. So there are two types of knowledge, secular and spiritual. All this knowledge, what we get as secular knowledge, will give us all other things. Security, comfort, transactions, we require this particular knowledge. The person who has more knowledge will have this thing in abundance, but it will not liberate us from three things. Shoka, bhaya, moha. It will not give us fearless happiness. It will not liberate us from sadness, and it will not liberate us from the delusion of who am I. The second sutra, what we saw is Yatha Drishti Tatha Srushti. My knowledge drives my happiness. In that we saw four types. If my knowledge says that this world is real, I will derive the knowledge from this world. Suppose I say my knowledge is dependent on my action, I will alter my actions. Suppose I say my knowledge, my happiness depends upon God, then I will pray to God and then depend upon grace of God. And suppose I say that my knowledge, my happiness depends upon my own self, where the happiness is located in my own self, then I will start seeking my own self, because that is a location of my happiness. So once I decipher where my happiness is located, I must start seeking it. And that is where this knowledge helps us. That is called as intelligence. I must clearly know where happiness is located, because mind goes automatically towards seeking happiness. The third sutra, what we saw, is definition of knowledge. Prakarshena miyate anaya iti prama. So that what we know clearly, that we can measure clearly, is called as knowledge. So we have got definition of knowledge also. Suppose we see a red flower in the sunlight, it is clear knowledge. Suppose the same flower we see in the dark or semi-light, then we will have a doubt, or we will exactly not know that the flower is red or little bluish or greenish, because the light has changed. Same thing happens in our day-to-day experience when we go to a showroom where there are so many bright lights. The color of the cloth seems to be X, but the same thing when we come out in the sunlight, there is a slight difference in the shade. So it is not very clear. We are taking these transitory examples to understand this, but the same examples we have to apply to something which we know where the happiness is located, that is the self. Then we saw definition of pramana. Pramaya karanam pramanam. That instrument what is used for knowing something is called as pramana. That is our topic, pramana vichar. Because if I change the means, my knowledge changes. Then we saw sutra lakshana pramanabhyam vastu siddhi. Like, to know something, to attain something, we must basically have two things. One is we must know the lakshana of that particular vastu. Suppose we say that I want to know this person, then what we have to know about that person are about his characteristics, attributes, qualities. Suppose I want to go to that person, I must know the address of the person. So all this comes under lakshana. Where it is located and what are the qualities. Actually speaking, we get interested or we get keen to know when we know the lakshana only. Only when we come to know this person is like this, like this, like this, like this, then I want we meet the person. Then we have to find the address, then we have to locate it. But after knowing the address and the qualities of the person or the vastu, whatever, whether it be a situation, person, object, or now our vastu is self, Brahman, the Praman has to be there. Suppose I do not have eyes, then I will not be able to enjoy Taj Mahal, or suppose I go to Canada to see, the falls there. I will not be able to see because eyes are not there. That is a pramana to see it. And our Vastu right now, what we are interested is Brahman, Om Brahmavid Apnoti Param. The knower of Brahman attains supreme bliss. So I am not interested in temporary happiness. So spiritual seekers are very ambitious. This is one myth we have to destroy, that, spirituality is meant for people who have not got any ambitions. Once I know where maximum happiness is located, the intelligent person will go there. Like suppose there are two bowls kept with you. One is having peanuts and one is having diamonds. Definitely intelligent person will go for diamonds, because I know that once I get the bowl of diamonds, my 4 generations will sit and eat. But monkeys will go for peanuts because they will not know what is the significance of diamonds. So knowledge, knowing the right knowledge becomes our main purpose in life, and that is what we must seek. Then we saw what is the right knowledge. This is the last session what we saw. Prama iti abaditam anadigatam asannigdham smruti vilakshanam. So that knowledge is not the right knowledge which changes with time. This person was like this, after 20 years I come to know this person was bad, or this person is bad, this person after 15 years I come to know this person is like this. And that's the reason we can see a lot of challenges happening in relationship. Love marriage becomes divorce, because with time my knowledge changed. I thought this person will give me happiness, but this person is giving me misery. So knowledge changed with time. Knowledge changed with means, anadigatam. The pencil is straight or pencil is crooked. Suppose you put the means water, then the pencil looks crooked. Knowledge changed. My weight here is 70 kilos. Suppose I go on moon, my weight changes, means changes, weight changes. So whatever is available in this world, suppose I change the time 1000 years back or now, or I change the means, the knowledge should not change. That is right knowledge. Asannigdham, it should be doubtless. I should not have any doubt. Who am I? What is God? What is this world? What is this object? And suppose the object itself is changing, the means also are changing, the knower also is changing, then how can we have the right knowledge? Because we cannot have absolute knowledge about some temporary relative thing, which is also confirmed by Einstein when he said everything is relative. Now we understand on what perspective he spoke about everything is relative, because whatever he discovered, he says everything is relative. It will change tomorrow. No, earth was flat, earth is round. Now earth is round, this knowledge will not change. Definitely it will change, because this earth can get collapsed with different planets on this, in this solar system. The earth will not remain round. So what is there any right knowledge? That is what we are interested. So we are interested in right knowledge, and that right knowledge will lead us to permanent happiness. And for that, the right Praman is required, right means of knowing. Now here, very important thing, for knowledge to happen, we saw there are 3 things required: Pramata, Pramana and Pramaya. There has to be a knower, there has to be a knowing means, and there has to be an object of knowledge, what I am seeking. Suppose my object of knowledge is mobile phone, then the means of knowing for it is eyes, and I am the knower. So for any knowledge to happen, there has to be 3 things: Pramata, the knower; Prameya, the object to be known; and Pramana, the right means. Now why this Praman Vichar becomes very important? Because in this unique case, the Pramata and the Prameya is me only. I am a seeker is who is seeking oneself. And then one realizes after, in the last stage, that the seeker is the sought. So here the Pramata is I am, and I am seeking my real self. Now here we have understood from Shastra, there are 2 selves, real self and the false self. Now the false self is seeking the real self. In that seeking, the false self will dissolve, where Ramana Maharshi says, Mano Nasha, because the first thought in the mind is I am. When that dissolves, there is Spurati Rut Swayam, the real self will be always available. Spurati Rut Swayam, Parama Purna Sat, that is the Purna. So our journey of a seeker is from Apurnata to Purnata. In all aspects, we are seeking Purnata, completion, fulfillment. I must be fulfilled. So this Pramana is the only area where we have to work on. Suppose we use the right Pramana, then this journey will be completed. So we are seeking, or so we are studying the Pramana Vichar. So the significance is very huge. So we saw last time what are the different Pramanas. There are 8 valid means. First 6 are important. Out of that, first 2 we have to focus on. So what are the 8 valid means of knowing anything? Pratyaksha Pramana, knowledge by perception. Anumana Pramana, knowledge by inference. This is where entire knowledge happens. Perception and then inference. Perception and inference. Upama Pramana, that is knowledge by comparison. Arthapatti, knowledge by postulation. We are going to discuss in detail with examples. Anupalabdhi, knowledge by absence. I can know that I was not there. I can know absence of somebody. I can get up and say I was there, but I had the experience of absence in the deep sleep. It's very important to meditate upon that. I can have the knowledge of absence of something. Shabda Pramana, knowledge by word. Why it is put in red? Because that is the valid means of knowledge. Because we cannot see God, see Atman, see Brahman, and see the self. And then somebody has told us, no, all this world doesn't have happiness. Atma has happiness, God has happiness, Brahman has happiness. Seek it. But then how can I know that this world doesn't have happiness? Because I am getting happiness from the world. When I have filter coffee, there is happiness. When I meet a person, there is happiness. So then we understand that, yeah, there is definitely an experience of happiness. It must be located in the object or subject. But the same coffee, same person, same situation is not giving happiness to all people. So the happiness must be located in the subject. And that's the reason I turn my attention from the object, situation, person to the subject. And the last 2 are Atihi, knowledge by history or itihasa as Praman, and Sambhava, knowledge by possibility or probability. So these are the 8 means of knowledge, and we have to pay attention on Pratyaksha Pramana and Anumana Pramana. That is the main part what we have to understand very clearly. So now, Pratyaksha Pramana, knowledge by perception. Now, when we say knowledge by perception, first of all, we must understand that it is dependent on my 5 senses and something outside. And this is called as tangible knowledge. When people say, something tangible you tell me, something tangible you show me, something tangible you tell me, it is dependent on my senses, and then we will understand by this Pramana Vichar that this is the primary thing what is required for all other knowledge, but we cannot depend upon all the time on this because this may fool us. Our Pratyaksha transaction may fool us. So what is that? This sequence in this Pratyaksha Pramana happens. Perception, that is object to senses. Right now when you are looking at the mobile phone or laptop, there is a connection happening between laptop and eyes. So that is step number 1. Without that connection, the second step cannot happen. So first step is perception. Second step is cognition, between senses to mind. Now, very important, very important point to understand that there has to be a vritti formation. Very important to understand. So first of all, the eyes or the ears or the tongue or the skin or the nose has to come in contact with the outside world. That is step number 1. Object to senses, from outside to my senses. That is step number 1. This, when it happens, there has to be the second part what must take place, that is the senses to the mind. And there has to be a thought formation. Now we have to focus on this. So 2 conditions has to be met for knowledge happening. And the third level it goes, recognition, memory. And then it says, okay, this is this. First time, suppose I am seeing it, it is recorded. And then we say that knowledge has taken place. So all our knowledge is called as vritti janya. There has to be a vritti created in it. Manisha, to tell me when, say, when 45 happens. Okay. I'm watching. So let us take example. Sometimes when we are so focused on seeing something, reading something, some things come on our ear also, but we say that, no, I didn't hear only, because the thought formation has not happened. Because it has not become my memory. I have not recognized it. When a person's exam is there, the person goes, in that exam, or some presentation is there, somewhere the person is so engrossed in one thoughts and walking. And that time, suppose even an elephant has passed before me or a car has passed before me, the perception has happened, but the cognition has not happened. The thought formation has not happened. So, till the thought formation has not happened, we cannot call that knowledge has happened. So very interestingly, what we call as experience in our day-to-day life, here in Vedanta we call as knowledge. Knowledge has not taken place. What is it? Because till the thought is not formed, we cannot say knowledge has happened. And till that thought has gone into the memory, we have not recognized it, what it is. Now, this sounds very interesting, very simple, but same thing we have to do, that we are having the experience of Atma, but we are not having the knowledge, we are not recognizing it. So one saint says that recognition of our beingness is self-realization. Recognition of that beingness is nirvana or moksha. So what is the step? Experience, impression, memory, and then knowledge is formed. So all our knowledge, including what we are listening right now, it depends upon the Pratyaksha Pramana. There has to be a contact between the 5 senses and the object. Right now, what is happening is that my voice is coming from here, and then that is coming from this laptop to your laptop, or mobile phone from your mobile phone. It is coming on the ear. And suppose my mind is completely tuned to what I am talking, what the speaker is talking, there will be a thought formation, and that thought formation will go into the memory, and then recognition, and I will say, I know this. I have understood this. And suppose I have not understood this, I will say, I have not understood this. So I have understood this and I have not understood this also is a thought. But that ignorance I have understood, that also is called as knowledge. If anybody has any questions after this class, wait and ask. So there are 4 types of Pratyaksha Pramana. Nirvikalpa, this is a technical name, but basically Nirvikalpa Pratyaksha means object to senses. Only the perception has happened. I am seeing, I am hearing, but no thought formation is happening. Sometimes, some people are wondering, they just sit like that blank and then says, what did you say? What did you say? No, I didn't hear, only my mind had gone blank. But the perception has happened. So that is called as Nirvikalpa. Kalpa means thought. No thought has taken place, but perception has taken place. And Savikalpa means thought has formed. So all our knowledge is vritti janya knowledge. Right now, suppose I say, I know about Atma, self, Brahman, God. It is a thought. It is only a thought. Suppose I say, believe in God. That is also a thought. I don't believe in God. That is also a thought. So all our knowledge is thought-based. What is this? These 2 are the main thing to contemplate upon. This is very important. Suppose somebody is interested, I must contemplate and I can play around this every day. Okay, I am seeing this. Now the perception is happening. Now there's image has happened. That image has gone into the brain and that is inverted. And that inverted image in the brain has created a thought. And that thought I am understanding and I say knowledge has happened. For that in day-to-day life, we say experience has happened. So if the thought process has not taken place, then only perception has happened. If the thought has taken place, then cognition has happened. And then thought is recognized by the memory, because memory is required to recognize anything. We have to underline this statement. Memory is required to recognize something. When I say this filter coffee is giving me, wow, this is what a filter coffee. I already have a prior experience of what is the best filter coffee. Suppose, no, this is not good because this sugar is more. Because I have a prior experience of what is the filter coffee which gives me the best happiness, best joy. So I have a prior memory of what is happiness. So I compare my happiness with the world and I can never get that happiness from the world, because all of us are having the memory of supreme happiness, because I am supreme happiness. The journey, our journey of all seekers is, I want happiness from the world. Then when it comes to Vedanta, I want happiness from the self or Brahman or God. And then the third stage of realization is that I am happiness only. Now other two, these are for information. This is because I'm doing this topic and I keep reading and doing researching. These two topics are mentioned. Otherwise, normally in most of the places, first two are discussed because that is our main one. What is Yogach perception? So what is Yoga's perception? Nirvikalpa is external perception object to senses. Every sense gives right particular input to our senses, and that we call as experience. Eyes sees, ears hear, nose smell, tongue taste, skin touch. And that is a beauty, that this is a wonder of wonders that we are able to do. That anybody feeling sad in life, they must not feel sad, because I'm able to see, I'm able to hear, I'm able to taste. That is the greatest magic happening right now. We are able to do this. So when senses come in contact with object, it is called as nirvikalpa. So now some more details about this nirvikalpa. Out of these five senses, in the first three, eyes, ear, nose, perception happens even when object is not in direct contact with it. But for the last two, perception needs contact. So I can hear from outside, I can see from far off. But tongue, whatever rasgulla is there, that it has to come in contact with me. And that's the reason I can shut all my senses, but this becomes very difficult to shut. And that's the reason this is the main sense among all five senses, because the Shabda Praman comes from this, ears. And though suppose I sit for meditation, my ears are open. So among five, three can get the knowledge of or perception without contact. Nose can smell some agarbatti somewhere, I can smell from far off. Ear can hear, eyes can see. Thank God that, this our eyes, ears, nose do not change. So very interestingly, two pair of eyes, two nostrils, and I can see thousands of objects. one tongue, I can taste several tastes. We can go on and on with this particular magic. What is there? It doesn't change. Suppose one image comes on my eyes, doesn't remain, another image coming. 25 images per second, then only we can see the movie. Suppose it goes fast forward, then cartoon film. Suppose it goes slow, then slow motion. What is Savikalpa? This I have to focus on thought formation, senses to mind. And these two things happen so fast. Now we are able to study because our Guru Parampara has dissected this, that how it takes place. It happens so fast that we are not able to recognize it. All knowledge is in the form of thoughts. This is a very important sentence to remember. All emotions are thoughts. All my beliefs are thoughts. All my values are thoughts. All my ignorance also is thought. I don't know also is a thought. So Savikalpa depends upon the perception. Savikalpa depends upon the memory, because it has to go back to the memory and say, what is it? Recognition. So in the school, when we go kindergarten, suppose sometimes after this Pramana Vichar, we must go to a kindergarten school and watch how teachers teach the first level of children. A for apple. This is apple. A for apple. So now the child recognizes, sees the apple and then recognizes this is the apple. So perception has happened, thought has taken place about the apple form and name, and the recognition has happened. This is very important to understand in our spiritual journey. Suppose I understand this, when Upanishad says the Lakshana of Atma, I will be able to recognize instantly, oh, this is Atma. So three things: perception, cognition, recognition. This is what we have been taught in the schools. A for apple, B for ball. And suppose somebody says, okay, then teacher will take a test, show a bat. What is this? Is it a ball? The child will say no, because now three things have happened: perception, cognition, recognition. Nirvikalpa is called indeterminate knowledge. Savikalpa is called determinate knowledge in this respect itself. So we have Nirvikalpa knowledge of Atma, but we do not have Savikalpa knowledge of Atma. I am having the experience of Atma. Not only I am having the experience of Atma, which is Satchitananda Swarup. I am Atma, but I do not know. But I say that after reading so many books, so many scriptures, no, I know I am Atma, and I know definition of Atma also. Those who have done Tattva Bodh, this definition we have to read every day. Avasthatraya Sakshi, Panchakosha Titaha, Sthula Sukshma Sharira Vyatiriktam, Satchit Ananda, Iti Atma. So I know I am Atma, I know my nature is Satchit Ananda. Why I am not able to experience this? Savikalpa is not happening. I am not able to recognize it. And why I am not able to recognize it? Because my mind is in turmoil. My chitta ekagrata is not there. It is dull. It is not alert. It is not silent. My body is not still. My mind is not silent. My intellect is not single pointed. Otherwise, I will be able to recognize it. So now we understand this Pramana Vichar, and to know Brahman through a direct means. Om Brahmavid Apnoti Param, the knower of Brahman attains supreme, no action required. So I have to just recognize my nature. That recognition is called as realization. So these are the two mains. If you have any questions, if I have to understand this correctly, and this happens so fast in our day-to-day knowledge that we are not able to dissect this. How the perception happens, how the cognition happens, how the recognition happens. And once we know the Lakshana and once the Praman is right, Vastu Siddhi is immediate. So those people who realize, they say it is immediate. It doesn't depend upon time. So this is only first one. Then we are going to see now the most interesting Praman is the Anumana Praman. Okay, when this thought is formed, this is where the whole thing changes. How I interpret of what is happening outside. That interpretation depends upon my inference, and all our knowledge is inference based. It is an inference. Now, when we study that inference, Anumana Pramana, Anumana means after perception, what happens? That is where the main drama starts happening, because I infer anyhow I want, because I am not trained how to think. I am trained what to think, but how to think? Anumana Pramana. And now we're going to systematically study that how can I come to right inference? Those people who can rightly infer whether about a person, object, situation are successful outside. If I am able to infer correctly about Atma, Brahman, God, it is here and now, otherwise it is Paroksha. This Paroksha knowledge will become Aparoksha immediately when we have this Lakshana and Pramana going together. I hope you are finding it interesting. At least for me, studying and learning is very, very interesting and pondering, because if I have to speak for 45 minutes, I have to think for many hours at how this can be explained in the most easiest way we can understand. So I'm always grateful for people who come for listening this, because you motivate me to study more. My learning happens most when I study for conducting these sessions. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.